Most people think successful people are right most of the time. They're not. In fact, many of them are wrong more often than you. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this Psychology of Money series, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who feels like they're failing just because things haven't worked yet. This chapter might completely change how you see failure. Think about how success usually looks from the outside. You see the billionaire, the hit product, the viral company, the overnight success, and you quietly assume they knew what they were doing. They rarely fail. If I fail this much, something must be wrong with me. But what you don't see are the 10 things that failed before the one that worked. So, when your plans don't work out, when your business struggles, when your ideas flop, you start thinking you're behind. You're not behind. You're just seeing only the winning tail of the coin. Here's the truth this chapter wants you to understand. You can be wrong most of the time and still make a fortune. Success, whether in money, business, investing, or life, is not about being right often. It's about being right big when you are right. Some people try 10 things. 9 fail. One works so well that it pays for all 9 failures and more. That's not perfection. That's survival math. Walt Disney is remembered as a genius, but before he became a legend, he was something else. A bankrupt entrepreneur, a struggling animator, a man constantly losing money. Disney's first studio went bankrupt. His films were monstrously expensive to make. They were financed under terrible terms. By the mid-1932s, Walt Disney had produced over 400 cartoons. Most were short, most were loved by audiences, and most lost money. Then came Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. In just 6 months of 1938, it made $8 million more money than Disney had ever earned before, combined. That single win paid off every company debt, gave bonuses to key employees, bought a state-of-the-art studio in Burbank, turned Walt Disney from famous into a full-blown celebrity. In business terms, only 83 minutes mattered. Hundreds of failures didn't disappear, but they didn't matter anymore. That's what tails you win looks like. We love to call outcomes like this skill, or sometimes luck, but both words distract us from the real lesson. When we study role models, we zoom in on their wins and ignore their losses. That makes our own failures feel like proof we're doing something wrong. But what if they were wrong just as often as you? They failed just as painfully? The difference wasn't frequency, but scale. They didn't avoid losses. They survived them long enough for one win to matter. Look at companies you admire today. Apple is overwhelmingly driven by the iPhone. Amazon's growth comes largely from Prime and AWS. Amazon lost money on the Fire Phone. Massively. But it didn't matter, because AWS earns tens of billions of dollars. One tail rescued everything. That's why Amazon can afford mistakes. That's why Apple can kill products. That's why failure doesn't scare them. They're not betting on being right every time. They're betting on one big right. Here's the shift this chapter demands. Stop asking, why isn't this working? Start asking, what happens if one of these works far bigger than the rest? Failure is not a signal to quit. It's often just the cost of staying in the game. George Soros said it best. It's not whether you're right or wrong that matters. It's how much you make when you're right, and how much you lose when you're wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. But this only works if you survive the losses. If your failures wipe you out completely, leave you unable to try again, force you out of the game, then the winning tail never gets a chance to appear. The goal isn't reckless risk. The goal is endurance. Most people quit because they think failure means they're bad at the game. In reality, failure is often just proof you're still playing. Stay long enough, lose small. And when you win, win big. If this changed how you see failure, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who feels stuck right now. Because sometimes, one win is all that ever mattered.